came out, about 4 of them followed me out, and I watched, and, you know, being aware of my surroundings, I pumped the gas, you know, backwards, looking at them. And then when the gas kind of spilled over, I looked down, and then one of them came and hit me, and then the other ones came out and just punched me. And
yeah, you got a cut right.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna go check my hand out and knees and whatnot. These are the pants that just ripped them off. I was indecently exposed. It was
fine. If you sit in your church and you know, well, why can't I live like that? You can't tell me you sit in church and you don't be like, well, why can't I live like my pastor? Why can't I live like my first lady?
Things just exploded in the gospel scene. Andria Johnson, the Grammy-winning vocal beast, is calling out none other than Bishop Marvin Winans, and she's not holding anything back. She's pulling the curtain on his so-called holiness and blasting him for being arrogant behind closed doors. According to Andria, Marvin ain't in it for the ministry, he's in it for the money. And guess what? She's had enough of letting him slide like nothing's wrong. But now things are getting even uglier, because word is Winans didn't like being exposed. Allegedly, he's threatening Andria and even trying to shut her down in the industry, blackballing her like she never existed. So what's really going on here? Is she dropping facts the gospel world's been scared to say out loud? Or is this just one big storm stirred up online? Either way, Andria lit up the internet with her bold rant, and trust, she didn't hold back. She dragged Bishop Marvin Winans for allegedly treating her like she was beneath him. One moment especially had her fired up. She said he walked right by her, acting like he didn't even know who she was. I don't care whose spiritual father he is. He could have been mine. But no, he walked past me like I was a peasant, she said. You don't even realize I'm a product of you, but it's all good. Love, peace, and happiness to the ones who know the truth and are tired of this fake Christianity nonsense. Who? She said that with her whole chest. That's exactly why Andria made it crystal clear. She's done with Bishop Marvin Winans for good. She even said that if she had the power to go back in time, she'd tell her own mama to stop listening to him. That's deep. Calling out Marvin like this? That's not just petty drama, it's a major move. We're talking about a man the gospel world treats like royalty. People literally call him the king of gospel music. And let's not forget, this ain't just any preacher. Marvin is the founder and president of Perfecting Church, and that church owns at least 90 commercial and residential properties in Detroit alone. That's not ministry, that's big business. But Andria? She ain't some outsider throwing shade for clout. She's a certified voice in the gospel world too. 5 albums under her belt, a Grammy win back in 2012 for Best Gospel Contemporary Christian Performance, and even a spot on Preachers of Atlanta. She's been in the game, and in the church, for years. So when someone like her steps up and calls out one of the biggest names in the Christian community, people are gonna listen. And trust, it wasn't just about Marvin ignoring her. No way, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Andria went off on the church for what she sees as deep-rooted hypocrisy. She talked about pastors living lavishly while preaching about humility. And she wasn't feeling it, not one bit. After working with some of the top dogs behind the scenes, she said she saw enough to make her speak up. Now she's blowing the lid off what really goes down. And yes, that includes Bishop Marvin too. Andria wasn't just throwing shade, she came with receipts. She said that when she started her own church, 4 other folks followed her lead, but not for the right reasons. According to her, they weren't trying to spread God's word, they were chasing a bag. It might sound wild, but Johnson made it clear. In her eyes, the church scene turned into a money game. She said straight up, the people at the top in church circles are the ones getting rich, while regular churchgoers are stuck struggling. She painted a picture where pastors are living large, first ladies are glowing, their teams are winning, but the people in the pews? They're just trying to make ends meet. And in her eyes, Marvin's no exception. She seemed fed up with everyone worshiping him like a saint when she believes his motives aren't pure at all. Then things got even messier, because Andria didn't stop there. She hinted at some dark secrets hiding in Marvin's past, claiming there were skeletons in his closet that people had no clue about. Naturally, her comments caused a massive storm. The Christian community was not having it, and she took serious heat. Her career even got hit hard. Back in 2018, her appearance during a group tribute at the Essence Festival was suddenly canceled. The tribute was meant to honor gospel legend Dottie Peoples, but guess what? Rumor has it Marvin pulled some strings behind the scenes to get her blackballed. Still, Leandria didn't back down. She clapped back and said, "I'm not going to be at the gospel part of the Essence Festival. Apparently me speaking my right. I have an amendment right, and that's freedom of speech, caused me not to be there." She added, "I said what I said. Maybe that's why they don't want me there." She stood 10 toes down and refused to be silenced. Even with all the backlash, Leandria wasn't completely alone. A small but loyal crew of fans stood by her side, believing she was finally saying what others were too scared to speak on. They saw her not as bitter, but as brave. One person commented, "She's speaking on what's really been happening in churches for years. That's why I always listen to my grandma. Know God for yourself." Another chimed in, "SIS is not lying at all. She's speaking straight facts. Too many pastors been using the word of God and people's pain to get rich and live flashy. It's just sad." But now the big question is Leandria really out here exposing the truth? Or is there something more going on? Could this be personal? To figure that out, we gotta dig into Bishop Marvin Winans' own life, and it gets messy fast. Let's start with his marriage, because according to insiders, that was one of the biggest breakdowns behind closed doors. Marvin was married to fellow gospel singer Vicki Winans for 16 years, from 1978 to 1995. On the surface, they looked like a power couple, building a life and raising two sons, Marvin Winans Jr. and Josiah Winans. But then, out of nowhere, it all fell apart. In 1995, Vicki walked away from the marriage, and she didn't hold back. She pointed fingers directly at Marvin, saying he was the reason it ended. But what really went down behind the scenes? What could have pushed Vicki to leave after all those years? Well, remember how we said they split back in '95? That's where things start to unravel, because the drama didn't stop with just a divorce. So we did a little digging, and things got real messy. Turns out, Marvin fathered a son named Joseph de Winans back in January 1988, with a woman who was not his wife. That means while he was still married to Vicki, he was out here doing his own thing on the side. Now, cheating is scandalous enough, but is that the smoking gun Leandria needed to call him out? Maybe not. But here's where it gets even crazier, because Marvin's record ain't exactly squeaky clean. In 2012, Bishop Marvin Winans got caught up in a wild situation. He was pumping gas at a station when 3 men rolled up on him. They beat him down, snatched his Rolex, grabbed some cash, and peeled off in his 2012 Infiniti QX56. At first, everybody felt bad for him. Fans flooded social media with sympathy. But then, the real tea came out. People found out Marvin was actually driving on a suspended license and had a whole warrant out for his arrest. Yep. According to reports, his license was suspended on May 9th because he didn't pay 2 traffic tickets from the previous December in Hazel Park. Then, the Detroit News dropped the bomb. There was a warrant issued on March 15th for skipping a court appearance tied to that same suspended license. Marvin tried to clear it up by saying he never got the notices. But after that, folks started looking at him sideways. The sympathy? Gone. And it didn't stop there. In 2018, things took another shady turn. Marvin got hit with a lawsuit by his own housekeeper. She accused him of stealing money from her, and suddenly that whole empire-building accusation Leandria made started sounding a lot more believable. This wasn't just about church anymore. This was about power, money, and secrets spilling out fast. Harris used to be part of the Perfecting Church staff, working directly under Bishop Marvin Winans, until she saw a whole different side of him. And let's just say, what she experienced left her stunned. According to a lawsuit filed against the church, things got real shady during a meeting in 2017. That's when Marvin allegedly demanded Harris donate 10% of her already small salary, just $18,000 a year, back to the church. He wanted her to cough up $1,800 for the previous year, but Harris wasn't having it. She decided to stand her ground. And here's where it gets even worse. When she told him she didn't have the money, Marvin allegedly offered to take the $1,800 directly out of her paychecks, splitting it up over time. Just like that, like she had no say in the matter. But Harris didn't fold. She pushed back, and that's when more pressure started coming in. She said her job had already been threatened before, all because she didn't chip in for birthday gifts. Yeah, you heard that right. Supervisors at the church reportedly asked her to hand over $10 to $25 to buy presents for church managers. And if she didn't, they'd just take it from her check anyway. Then came the most insulting moment. When Harris stood firm and refused, her supervisor hit her with this line. "Well, you're going to have to give this $10. I know you've got $10 floating around in your little world. You just don't want to give it up. Everybody has to give this." Can you believe that? And according to Harris, Marvin sat right there during the meeting, backing it all up with the same energy. No sympathy, no understanding, nothing. When Harris refused to be pushed around, Marvin fired her on the spot. That moment right there proved that those messed up church policies, they weren't random, they came straight from the top. And it's not just the staff dealing with shady treatment at Marvin Winans' Perfecting Church. Over the years, regular church members have stepped forward, saying they felt judged and unwelcome. The irony? Church is supposed to be a safe space, not a place where people feel criticized for their past. Back in 2013, a single mother named Charity Grace spoke out about her heartbreaking experience. She said she was barred from a child dedication ceremony at the church, all because she had her 2-year-old son outside of marriage. That moment crushed her. Charity just wanted to raise her son in faith, but what she got was pain and rejection. In her own words, "I told them I was not married, and that's where everything just broke loose." She said someone in the church office told her point blank, "Pastor Marvin Winans doesn't let unwed mothers take part in blessing ceremonies." That rule hit hard. It didn't just feel strict, it felt personal. And fans? They saw the hypocrisy. How could Winans push that kind of judgment when he himself had fathered a child outside of marriage too? The double standards had people heated. But wait, there's more. That same year, 2013, Marvin's own nephew, Michael Winans Jr., made headlines for a scandal that rocked the entire Winans name. He got sentenced to nearly 14 years in prison for running an $8 million pyramid scheme. According to court docs, Michael tricked over 1,200 people into thinking they were investing in Saudi Arabian crude oil bonds. Instead of blessings, people got burned, and it was all tied to the family name. If you thought the drama stopped with the church, this just showed it ran way deeper. Michael promised investors something that didn't even exist. He guaranteed they'd get double their money, 100% returns in just 60 days. But the whole thing? It was just a slick scam Michael had cooked up to line his own pockets. Now, to be clear, Marvin wasn't officially linked to the case. His name didn't come up in the investigation. But still, a lot of people can't shake the feeling that Michael might have picked up a few of those smooth-talking tricks from his own uncle. And honestly, it's hard to believe Marvin had no idea what was going on with his own family, especially something that big. Even worse?
I'm cussing, okay, and you drink too. Yeah, you do. Okay, third, you done dealt with some hurt too in the church. Oh, okay,
He didn't step in to stop it, didn't speak up, didn't distance himself. Just silence. That's why some folks are starting to see Bishop Marvin in a whole different light, and it makes Andria Johnson's bold call-out hit even harder. Because this wasn't about clout. This wasn't about being messy for views. She risked everything to speak up, and her career definitely took a hit for it. Sure, some people slammed her for disrespecting the church. But others saw her as a truth teller, finally cracking open a world that's been protected for too long. She wasn't trying to tear down faith. She was calling out the people hiding behind it. So the real question is, was Andria right all along? And if she was, how far is Marvin really willing to go to protect his name?
I'ma just take my time, and not take my time, but just to be able to embrace his presence. And
Drop your thoughts below and don't miss what we're exposing next. This story is far from over. And if Leandria is right, there's way more hiding behind those church doors than anyone expected. One thing's for sure, she didn't stay quiet, even when it cost her big time. So now it's up to us. Are we going to keep turning a blind eye or finally face the truth? If you're feeling some type of way after all that, don't just scroll. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real talk, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Stay locked in, and we'll catch you on the next one.